As Karen mentioned last time, we were kind of working on low-hanging fruit in the area, trying to replace some culverts that were migration barriers, and we would like to kind of work toward the next opportunity, which is building some more complexity in the stream channel for salmonids, get them through winter and provide more floodplain connection and so forth. So we thought it would be just interesting to talk a little bit about the whole idea of large wood. It's in lots of the places where I end up talking about restoration, it's certainly one of those things that people get immediately really concerned about, is placing wood in the stream and what the potential impacts are, and it seems very unnatural to them in some sense. And the reason I've got this photo in there is because it'll make some sense later as we go a little further. And this is sort of typical of some of the forests that are actually mature enough to harvest these days. This would not be uncommon to have a logging operation come in here and remove this size material at the age it's at now. And that's not how it all used to be. Go ahead. So large wood, what is the big deal? This is a stream up in the Mustuka Basin, and it has a tremendous legacy of large wood still left in the channel to give me, anyway, because I'm out there, some sense of how it's really functioning in the channel. Okay, Wayne. And I think it all really, the trajectory we're on right now really started a long time ago. So this was a quote from the homestead of Charles and Ella Brown, which folks around here might remember as Hilltop Brown, over on Grant Ridge. And it was just stating that how common it was at the turn of the century, 1907, to have burnt old growth snags on your homestead. And they basically farmed around them. They left them there. It was too much effort to deal with them, so they just did what they could, and they called it a stump ranch. And that fire that raged through this upper Uquinna country occurred between 1847 and 1953, and it burnt 500,000 acres out here. So before any of us obviously were here. And a lot of that wood, go ahead, Wayne, would have traditionally been accumulated in the stream channel. Now, this was just the results of a Coast Range fire simulation model that Lee Benda and Dunn did in '97, and they ran this model through thousands of years, and without the impacts of harvest and so forth on the landscape, you would have expected to have 50% of the wood in the stream being contributed by fire-killed trees. So that's stuff that's just toppling over time and falling into the stream. That 50% is completely gone. That doesn't happen anymore. It's completely lost on the landscape. So right there, the kind of wood that used to contribute to the stream is no longer even a possibility because of fire suppression and so forth. 30% is coming in from natural recruitment just along the stream channel, this wind throw and just diseased trees that are falling into the stream, and then another 20% by natural slope failures. Okay, Wayne. This is what that looks like. This is the Tillamook legacy of the Tillamook burn that's still alive and well in Tillamook County, and it's because the fire there was almost 100 years later. It was in the 1930s. And so that material is still standing there, or it's not in the Uquinna anymore. You don't see anything like this in the Uquinna. The old snags from the 1840s fires are all gone. But they still exist up there, and they still are contributing to the stream channel. Next slide. And this is what some of the streams look like up there, where that material was never salvage logged. It's actually still to this day standing in the riparian and still slowly recruiting into the channel. This is what historically streams used to look like in the Coast Range. And there is nothing like that anymore except in a very few rare cases. This, in fact, is maybe one of two streams that I've ever seen this kind of wood complexity in that was contributed by snags, that 50% that the model suggested used to be across the coastal landscape. And we probably won't get back to this slide, but in the sense that it gives us an idea of the kind of complexity that we're kind of thinking about as good in a stream, this really represents that. It's trapping substrates, it's creating lots of floodplain interaction, calm water, really high quality habitat. Okay, this is another site that actually burned in the Aquina fire. This is the upper the headwaters of Rock Creek, which is the city of Corvallis's watershed. And it's actually, since the 1840s, that's the timber that's grown up since then. And it's slowly recruiting naturally into the stream channel. And this is historically what the settlers would have seen when they came out here, was streams that looked like this. A tremendous amount of wood volume, vegetation, impassable in a lot of the old notes. Okay. This is what streams look like today. This is kind of the natural recruitment that's very common. It's primarily alder and maple. It's very small and it's very short-lived. I wish I had a little pointer here, but it's doing the work that we're going to talk about largewood doing. It's trapping some gravel here and creating some quiet water on the edge. But the problem with it is that it's not persistent. It's recruited and then lost within just a few years. And it doesn't have the same kind of longevity and persistence that really large wood used to. Okay. I wish I kind of put this slide in there specifically for Ted Harmson, because this is his property on Young Creek. And there are some places where there's still potential in the riparian to have that large wood recruit somewhere down the road. And some of Harmson's property, it has that kind of potential, and so does Hull Oaks up closer toward the falls. There's some really good high quality timber in the riparian that was left. Okay. Well, the other thing we talked about is how wood gets into a stream is from natural slope failures. And those occur for all kinds of reasons. Saturated over steep slopes, head walls that are failing. These days we get a lot of road-related failures. And this is what you see in a stream channel related to a debris torrent event, is a real uniform age alder stand, which comes back up into a disturbed area. Alder loves disturbance, and when you see this in the channel, you know there's been a debris torrent here. It kind of gives you a little piece of the story. Okay? And this is kind of the end result of a debris torrent. The slope fails, it gathers all of that remaining wood on the slope, it transports it down into the main stem and builds a little bit of a splash dam in the main stem, which backs some water up. And once that reaches a critical mass, the whole thing starts to move downstream, and it happens really quickly. And then as the gradients flatten out, this starts to deposit wood in the stream channel, and this is kind of what you see. The wood that you see in this debris flow, which is also on the Nehalem, is all logging debris. And it's from a slope failure. That this is the kind of material that it's typically not left on the slopes anymore. I think there's much higher utilization. But this debris torrent was actually caused in the 1964 flood, and it brought material from a much older logging activity, and where they left undesirable species, They were really after the top quality wood, weren't messing with the tops. And a lot of it is like this one's cedar. Cedar was an undesirable species back then. It was felon, but not yarded. Okay. So it was a lot of it on the slopes to recruit to the channel. So this is, you know, with an older seral class in the riparian, older trees, you have the possibility of these dropping in. And this is what it takes to stop a debris torrent, a debris flow. It takes large wood to dissipate the hydraulic energy. There's no more of that today. Very little of this exists. And so debris flows travel a lot further than they used to. Okay? And it ends up turning your stream into something like this, which is very simple. It has no riffle pool structure. It's just solid riffle. And anybody that would have grown up fishing for trout would know that you just basically walk right through this. There's not going to be too much except for younger age class fish here. But this is what a debris torrent will do, and when those debris torrents travel a long distance, they have a tremendous impact on streams. They're bringing woody material into the stream, but they're also doing a lot of damage. Okay? And this is, you know, compared to this is sort of what I'm comparing it to, which is a very complex stream channel that's never torrented. It's got a lot of natural wood recruited into the stream, lots of organic material here that's providing a foundation for the food web in a stream. Lots of quiet pool habitat for both winter and summer, lots of cover, really, really complex habitat. Okay, this is the Aquina above Wally and B's place. It's a very simple channel, very little potential for wood recruitment from the riparian. Like I mentioned, primarily alder and maple, which doesn't persist in the channel. It just gets washed out. Okay. This is another debris torrent jam that is the kind of things that you would expect to see in a properly functioning stream that you don't see much of today. Okay.